So we have one side of our jigsaw puzzle complete, but we need to configure the CentOS server. We've already seen that we've copied the configuration file across, so we've copied our key across. With the key copied across, we should then be able to use the dig command to prove that we can authenticate from this system. But that's just showing that we can use dig. We're going to need to configure our DNS server. The configuration of our CentOS 7 host is going to be made entirely within the etc named.conf. We include the transfer file, and then we reference that we will use the key within this file when we communicate to the master server 10.2.4. And we specify that we will use the key then that's in our transfer.conf master-slave.example.com. And making sure that everything is finalized. Again, we would go through the process of restarting the server, but we should now be pretty much up and running. So let's take a look at this configuration on the CentOS host. Now we've moved the configuration file across, so we've moved the key across. But we're just going to go through and set the permissions correctly on this. So we want 640 for the transfer.conf. And then when we look at this ls-l on transfer.conf, so we've got read write for root, read for named, and then nobody else has access to it. So again, we want to keep this public key secret. We should be able to use the dig command much in the same way as we used it on the Ubuntu host. So of course we can see that we're able to transfer because we've got access to the key, and the key is in our transfer.conf file. But we now need to make sure that it's referenced correctly within the named.conf. So if we go through and take a look at our named.conf, and if we drop down to the end of the file and copy and paste, go to the end of the line, and then we can include the transfer.conf. Now we also need to put an entry in here, so we're going to use server and 10.0.2.4, so that's my server that I'm communicating to, and we can then go through and just put in our brace brackets. Within this server block, we're going to add in then the keys option, and we're going to specify that we're going to use then the master-slave, so master to slave.example.com. End all of this out and end that. So whenever we communicate now through to the server 10.0.2.4 using the name daemon, we'll be presenting the key. With this, and we'll jump out and save. Let's just clear the screen a little bit and then go back and restart our service. So systemctl and restart named. We should now be able to use our RNDC and retransfer example.com. And now if we go through and take a look in var log and messages, hopefully when we look at this, we've then gone through and retransfer, we've connected. We can see then that we're using the transactional signature, the TSIG file. We can then go through and see that that's now then come through. So we're now using a far more secure method using DNSSEC to ensure that we're both authenticating the server that we're connecting to. We know it's the master key, and we trust the master key because we've already pre-shared the public key from that. but also we're getting signed data coming back, so we know that the zone transfer hasn't been meddled with. So there's a little bit in setting this up, and please take care and go back and double check that everything is in place and carefully look at your log files. However, once we've got it set up, the investment is worthwhile and it becomes relatively easy to start copying these configurations to other slave servers should we need. Let's jump back into the slides now so we can take a more detailed look at DNSSEC.